Have you ever been so happy you started getting nervous? Like, things were going too well? That was me on the night of our engagement party. The string lights were glowing, people were laughing, glasses clinking. Everyone kept hugging us, saying how perfect we looked together. And there I was, standing next to the woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with, smiling like a fool. And just minutes later, I raised my glass, ready to toast the love of my life. But instead, I detonated a truth bomb that would destroy her reputation, her friendships, her job, hell, her entire fake little world. You have no idea how brutally I got my revenge. Let's rewind 2 weeks. We were at a bakery, tasting cakes for the engagement party. She was scrolling through her phone when a message popped up. I didn't mean to look, but the screen was right in front of me. The name said, Max Work, but I knew for a fact she used to call him just Max. The look on her face when she read it. She stiffened, pressed block, and pretended nothing happened. That's when something shifted. From that day on, I started noticing the signs. She was glued to her phone but always tilted the screen away. She suddenly had girls' nights that I wasn't allowed to ask about. Her Instagram stories got vaguer. And one night, she left her phone at my place by accident. You know that feeling when your gut tells you to look? Yeah. That. I couldn't unlock it, but the notification preview said, "Can't wait to see you in that red dress again." My stomach dropped. Next morning, I installed a monitoring app on her phone. Took me 2 minutes. Told her I wanted to share location data so I could track when she was on her way to me. She smiled, kissed me, had no idea she was handing me the keys to her secret life. By midnight, I had my first screenshots. Texts with Max photos. Dirty talk. Her telling him she wished I wasn't so boring in bed. My hands were shaking, but I didn't blow up. No, that would have been too easy, too weak. I looked at the engagement party date on the calendar, circled in little hearts, and I made a decision. She was going to confess, in front of everyone, whether she wanted to or not. I played it cool, even sweeter than before. Surprise flowers. Breakfast in bed. I held her hand like nothing was wrong. Meanwhile, I was building the most savage revenge plan you can imagine. I called up my cousin Nick. He's a cybersecurity wizard who could hack the moon if he wanted to. Within hours, he got me access to her iCloud. What I found there made my blood run cold. Max wasn't the only one. There was another guy from her gym. Another from a dating app, one I didn't even know she was on, because she had a second phone registered under a different name. In her alternate Tinder world, she was Valerie, and she wasn't just flirting. She was living a double life. New outfits, hotel meetups, a secret Instagram full of photos from places she never mentioned. But here's what cut the deepest. Her 2 best friends, who'd helped her pick out her dress, who smiled in my face every week. They were in on it. They covered for her. They enabled her. That was the moment I knew. I wasn't just ending a relationship. I was about to end her entire facade. Every sweet, "I love you," she whispered. I let it wash over me like poison. I took it, swallowed it, because I knew soon she'd be the one choking. And I wasn't just going to tell people the truth. I was going to make her watch as it all came crashing down. And this was just the warm-up. Couldn't sleep that night. Lying next to her, hearing her soft breathing, watching her curled up in the sheets like nothing was wrong. I wanted to scream. She looked peaceful, innocent. But her phone, her messages, they told a completely different story. I spent the night going through everything Nick had pulled from her cloud. Text threads, photo backups, audio clips. This wasn't just one stupid mistake. It was a lifestyle. She had a whole second identity. Different clothes, different friends, even a separate PayPal account she used to split hotel bills with her dates. And then I found the Tinder profile. Username Valerie_24. Same face, different vibe. More makeup, pouty selfies. Bio said she was spontaneous, open-minded, and not looking for anything serious. I laughed out loud. Not looking for anything serious? She was engaged to me. Want to know what really broke me? She had a whole album of pictures, labeled memories, full of her and these guys. Some in clubs, Some in cars. Some in bed. There was one, taken just 2 days after I'd proposed, where she's lying in a hotel room with some shirtless dude, flipping off the camera with her tongue out. That's when something inside me just snapped. I wasn't gonna confront her. That would give her power. Give her time to cry, manipulate, lie, twist it around like I misunderstood. No, if I wanted to end this the right way, it had to be surgical. Public. Final. I started thinking like her. Fake. Strategic. Cold. So I acted normal. Better than normal. I started planning the engagement party like a man who was all in. I told her I wanted to make it unforgettable. And oh man, I would. I hired a videographer, a DJ, rented an amazing venue with a built-in projector wall. Told her I wanted to make a cute highlight reel of our journey to show during the toast. She loved the idea. Said I was so thoughtful. Yeah. Thoughtful like a scalpel. While I built the perfect trap, I started testing her. I casually asked about Max or the gym guy to see if she'd flinch. Nothing. Girl was ice cold. She even made jokes like, "You better not have any secrets before we tie the knot. Oh, sweetheart, you have no idea." But there was one thing I needed before everything went live. Proof she wasn't just cheating, but that she was actively lying to everyone around her. I needed to know who else knew, who was helping cover it up. So I sent fake messages to her 2 best friends, the ones who were always around, helping her pick dresses and flowers. From a burner account, I wrote, "Hey, don't tell her I said this, but is it true she's still seeing Max?" Both responded within minutes. One said, "LOL, it's complicated. Don't get involved." The other, "They've been off and on for months. She just doesn't want to lose the security of being with you." I thought she'd at least wait until after the wedding. Bingo. Gotcha, ladies. They were in on it, smiling in my face while stabbing me in the back. And that's when I realized this wasn't just her betrayal. It was theirs too. A whole network of lies, gossip, and fake smiles. So I made a list. Her texts, Tinder profile screenshots, hotel receipts, Valerie_24 photos, messages from her friends, a voice memo she sent Max saying, "He's cute, but he's so damn boring. I only stay because he pays for everything." And I wasn't just gonna expose her. I was going to let her watch herself burn in front of everyone she thought she had wrapped around her finger. By the end of that party, she'd never be able to show her face again. Not at work. Not online. Not even in her own family group chat. And that was the point. There's a kind of pain that doesn't make you cry. It just empties you, numbs you, and once it wears off, it turns to fire. That's what I felt the more I dug into her second life. Because it wasn't just sex. It wasn't just some guilty pleasure. No, it was a whole alternate existence she'd been building while I was out here planning a future with her. I found her second phone hidden in a shoebox at the back of her closet, right behind an old pair of winter boots. Locked, of course, but Nick helped me crack it remotely. And what was inside? More dirt than I thought was possible. The Tinder profile was just the surface. There were messages on Telegram, WhatsApp, and even a private Reddit account where she posted under a fake name. She wasn't just cheating. She was performing. Like she got off on being a different person entirely. There were group chats with usernames I didn't recognize. Nick traced one of them to a burner Discord server. A place where people shared explicit stories, photos, and bragged about their adventures. And guess who was one of the most active posters? Valerie, my fiancée, posting like she was single, like she was free, like I didn't exist. She called me her nice guy fallback, someone to come home to when the party was over. There was one post where she literally wrote, "My fiancé has no idea. He's sweet, boring, and totally blind. I'll marry him for the house and security, but I'll never stop being me." I read that one a dozen times, not because I didn't understand it, but because I needed the rage to solidify, to make me immune to any crocodile tears she'd try later. And yeah, I considered walking away quietly, packing up, canceling the party, letting her keep her mask. But why should she walk away clean? She humiliated me in secret, so I'd make the truth louder than her lies. But I knew I couldn't do it alone. I needed allies. People who'd keep quiet, ask no questions, and knew how to handle dirt. First, Nick, obviously. He was already knee-deep in the tech side, archiving everything so there'd be no way she could spin it. Then I called in Jenna, my ex. Now, that probably sounds wild. But hear me out. Jenna and I ended on decent terms. She got cheated on, two worse, actually. Her ex had a whole second family. So when I told her what I was planning, she didn't flinch. She gave me the best advice of the whole operation. Don't humiliate her illegally. Humiliate her with the truth. She walked me through exactly how to present what I'd found without crossing any legal lines. No deepfakes. No revenge porn. Just cold, public, undeniable facts. And to top it off, she said something I'll never forget. You're not doing this because you're bitter. You're doing this because you deserve peace. You're burning the mask she wears, not her soul. Yeah, well, I wasn't sure I believed that second part. But I took her advice anyway. I spent the next week gathering receipts, polishing the presentation, scripting the exact timing of the reveal. And all the while, my fiancée kept on lying. She planned the flower arrangements. She picked her playlist. She even wrote vows that I later found saved in her notes app, right next to screenshots of other men's abs. The hypocrisy? Off the charts. But I smiled and waited, because if she wanted a perfect engagement party, I was going to give her one she'd never forget. I'll be honest. Part of me wanted to scream at her face right then and there. Every time she kissed me, every time she smiled and talked about our future. It took everything in me not to explode, but I kept the mask on, because I wasn't just going to end things. I was going to end the show she'd been performing for months, in front of her audience. And for that, I needed a performance of my own. I told her I wanted to make a video for the engagement party. Something emotional, a recap of our love story. She loved the idea. Of course she did. She sent me photos, helped me pick music, even recorded a voiceover where she talked about how much she adored me. That voiceover, pure gold. I was going to use it. I started crafting 2 videos. The first one, sweet, romantic, full of memories. Childhood photos, couple selfies, her holding my hand at a theme park, her crying when I proposed. The second one, a brutal truth bomb, screenshots of texts, hotel booking confirmations, her Valerie_24 profile, voice memos where she laughed about manipulating me, side-by-side images showing the woman she pretended to be and the one she actually was. I made the cut switch halfway through, so during the party it would start as a tearjerker, then flip, instantly, no warning. But just having the video wasn't enough. I needed to control the moment, set the stage. So I booked a venue with a massive screen, one of those modern halls that does weddings and corporate events. I told her I wanted to go all out. She was thrilled, even posted about it. Can't wait to celebrate with the love of my life. Yeah, she was gonna celebrate, alright? I also arranged for the video to be controlled from my phone. No USBs, no laptops, just one click from my pocket. That way, no one could stop it once it started. Meanwhile, I played the loving fiancée perfectly, took her out on dates, laughed at her jokes, even helped her pick out a second dress for the party. She said I seemed extra sweet lately. I told her I was just excited to spend my life with her. Liar meets liar, huh? One night, while she was in the shower, I looked through her phone again. Not the hidden one, her main one. She was still talking to Max, still planning to meet after the party. She texted him, "Don't worry, babe. This party's just a formality. We'll be free soon." I took a screenshot and added it to the video. That was the moment I stopped feeling guilty. This wasn't just betrayal. It was premeditated. She wasn't caught up in some fling. She was plotting a future, one that didn't include me. So I leaned in harder. I sent out invites, designed the seating chart, personally requested a section for her friends, the ones who covered for her. I wanted them front row for the big show. I also asked my cousin Nick to be on standby that night, watching the live security feed of the event space from his laptop, just in case anything went sideways. Then, for extra insurance, I saved backup copies of the video in cloud storage, labeled under fake names. If anything happened to me, if she got suspicious and tried to nuke my devices, the truth would still go live. The web was spinning tight now. And the best part? She had no clue. She thought she was playing me, using me, but the real game, it was mine now. Every plan needs a clean finish. No holes, no loose threads, no way for the enemy to spin it in their favor. I wasn't just aiming for impact. I wanted silence afterward, the kind of silence that comes when the truth is so loud, no one knows how to respond. But to pull that off, I needed more than just evidence. I needed the right people around me. Nick was already on board. He'd archived everything, built encrypted backups, and even programmed a remote failsafe that would trigger the video if I sent him a single word, now. But tech wasn't enough. I needed people who understood drama, who knew how to turn a public moment into a permanent scar. So I reached out to Lily. She worked in PR, handled scandal control for influencers and local politicians. She was also my friend's cousin and owed me a favor from way back. When I told her what I was planning, she didn't blink. "Brutal," she said, "but smart. I'll help you make it land." She helped me frame everything. How to phrase my speech so it didn't sound petty, how to position the reveal as tragic but necessary. Most of all, she taught me how to keep my voice calm when the room erupted. "You don't yell," she told me. "You don't look angry. You just let the truth do the damage." And then came the trickiest part, her family. I'd gotten close to her parents over the past 2 years. Her dad treated me like a son. Her mom called me her rock. These were good people, the kind who hosted barbecues, remembered birthdays, made me feel welcome. But they didn't know their daughter. And I hated that they were going to find out this way. I debated warning them, giving them a heads up. But every time I thought about that smirk on her face when she texted Max, every time I remembered the way she bragged about fooling me, I hardened. She made this bed. Let her lie in it. Still, I made sure they wouldn't be seated front row. That spot was reserved for her friends. The ones who helped her cheat, lied to my face, and toasted to our future while covering her tracks. Meanwhile, I made one last move. I booked a photographer. Not just any, the kind who did behind-the-scenes work for tabloids. Someone who knew how to capture reactions. Shock, rage, tears. I told him to focus on her. The moment the switch flipped during the video, I wanted her expression immortalized. For me? Maybe. But more importantly, for her. So she'd never forget who she really was behind the mask. The final piece? Me. I couldn't go into that night fueled by revenge alone. I had to be centered, focused, because no matter how satisfying it would be, this wasn't just about getting back at her. It was about ending her narrative and reclaiming mine. So I spent the last few days before the party working out, sleeping well, eating clean, and journaling. I talked with Jenna again. She reminded me, this isn't about destroying her. It's about freeing yourself. She was right, but still, I wasn't going to pull any punches. I rehearsed my toast until it was memorized, word for word. The perfect mix of honesty, irony, and closure. No cursing, no screaming, just truth delivered cold. Everything was ready. The venue was booked. The trap was set. The guests were invited. And my heart? Ice cold. In less than 48 hours, her entire lie would unravel in front of everyone. And I wouldn't even have to raise my voice. By now, the trap was fully built. All I had to do was make sure she didn't sniff it out. And to do that, I had to make her feel in control. So I pulled out the oldest trick in the book, reverse suspicion. I made her doubt me. It started with a subtle shift in behavior. I come home late and not explain where I'd been. I started locking my phone. I left fake messages from a Monica open just long enough for her to notice them. Just enough to spark curiosity. Then came the bachelor party. I told her the guys were planning something wild. A weekend getaway, no phones, no questions. She tried to play it cool, but I could tell it rattled her. She asked if Jenna would be there, my ex. I laughed it off and said, "Don't be silly." Spoiler, Jenna wasn't even invited. But she didn't need to know that. I let her stew in it. Gave her just enough uncertainty to make her paranoid. Not about me finding out her lies, but about losing control of the narrative. I also planted some bait on social media. A vague post that read, "Sometimes, the people smiling the biggest are hiding the darkest truths." It blew up. Her friends even texted me, asking if I was okay. She asked too. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't I be?" She smiled, but her eyes were searching. Exactly what I wanted. I needed her just distracted enough to stop covering her tracks. And it worked. She started slipping. I caught her texting Max during dinner, right there at the table. She forgot to delete a hotel confirmation email from her inbox. She even left her second phone unlocked in her purse one night. I didn't touch it. Didn't need to. By then, I had everything I needed. All the dirt. All the evidence. But now, I had her in the mindset, nervous, on edge, trying to maintain her lie while her fantasy started to crack. Meanwhile, the party plans were rolling like clockwork. I sent reminders to guests, worked with the caterers, finalized the timing with the DJ. The videographer sent me a sample cut of the tribute video, and I almost laughed. It looked like a fairy tale. The first half, anyway. I overlaid her voiceover, the one she recorded about our unbreakable love, right before the hard cut to her text to Max. "This is just for show. I'm out as soon as I get what I want." It was perfect. And because I couldn't resist, I added one more flourish. A split screen. On one side, footage of her hugging me at the engagement shoot. On the other, her kissing another man in a hotel room hallway. People say revenge is a dish best served cold. I was serving it frozen, plated with silverware, and delivered with full presentation. I kept everything on schedule. No hiccups, no leaks, no suspicion. Even when she asked if I seemed different, I just kissed her on the forehead and said, "I'm just excited." Truth is, I'd never been calmer. Because I knew what she didn't. This wasn't our engagement party. It was her reckoning. The night before the party, I couldn't sleep. Not from nerves. Not from doubt. From anticipation. Everything was ready. The guest list was confirmed. The food was catered. The DJ's playlist approved. The venue coordinator had a tight timeline, and the tech crew had tested the projector 3 times. But I wasn't checking logistics anymore. I was checking emotions. I wanted to feel absolutely nothing. That meant no regret, no hesitation, no last-minute softness that would make me flinch when it was time to hit play. Because let's be honest, even with all the evidence, there's always that one voice that whispers, "What if I'm going too far?" But I shut it down. She went too far first. I looked at myself in the mirror that night. Clean shave, crisp suit ready, speech rehearsed to perfection, and thought, this is the last time I lie to anyone, especially myself. The next morning, she woke up humming. She made pancakes. She kissed me like we were living in a rom-com. And I played along like the leading man. We got dressed separately per tradition. Her dress? Elegant, long-sleeved, sleek white. Mine? Classic black suit with a matching tie. She sent me selfies. I replied with fire emojis and "You're stunning." Every word another piece of bait. I arrived at the venue an hour early. The photographer was already in place, stationed near the entrance. Lens ready. The videographer double-checked the cue. I synced my phone one last time with the presentation remote. My cousin Nick set up a private live stream on an unlisted link, just in case something went wrong or someone tried to spin the story later. And the best part? Every guest was handed a card upon arrival that read, "Please silence your phones. A short video presentation will follow the toast." She didn't even read it. Too busy smiling, too busy soaking in the praise. Her parents arrived, hugged me, called me our future son. I smiled. I almost felt bad. Almost. Then came her friends, the liars, the enablers, the ones who knew everything. I greeted them with hugs. Told them I couldn't wait for the speech. One of them winked at me. I held back a laugh. As the room filled, so did the air with that fake warmth, the buzz of celebration. Champagne glasses clinked. Laughter echoed. People took photos in front of the custom future Mr. and Mrs. backdrop. I watched her pose like she owned the night, and she did, for now. Then the coordinator gave me the nod. Lights dimmed slightly. The DJ turned down the music. The microphone appeared in my hand. I took the stage, looked around, and saw nothing but smiles. She blew me a kiss from the front row. God, she was glowing. Cleared my throat. And I began. Thank you all for being here. Tonight's about love, loyalty, and truth. And I have something to share with you all. A short video we put together to show what this relationship has meant to me. Applause. Cheering. I tapped my phone. The screen lit up. The fairy tale had begun. And they had no idea what was coming in the second act. The first 30 seconds of the video felt like a dream. Soft music. Childhood clips. Our first date selfies. Her talking about our unshakable bond. Guests were already dabbing at their eyes. I heard a few whispered ahs behind me. Even her mom teared up, clutching her husband's hand. I could see her from the stage. She looked so proud, beaming, sitting tall in her chair like she owned the room. She had no idea what was coming next. The video rolled on. Footage of us on vacation. Her birthday party. Then came the engagement clip. Me down on one knee, her crying, saying yes. Perfect. And then, the switch. The screen glitched for half a second. A program flicker Nick built in to make it look like a tech issue. The music cut. A hard silence dropped across the room. Then came the first screenshot. A message from her to Max. You're the one I dream about. He's just safe. The gasp that followed? It wasn't loud. It was sharp, like air being sucked out of a single, collective throat. She sat frozen. Then came another screenshot. Her and Max at a hotel. His arms around her waist. Her in the red dress from the text. Timestamped just days after our engagement. I heard a fork clatter to the floor. People looked around. Whispered. Her friends were pale. Her mom? Wide-eyed. Her dad slowly turned his head toward her. Then to me, then back to the screen. And it didn't stop. Clips of her Tinder profile as Valerie_24. Chats from the burner phone. Her private Instagram. Snippets from the Discord server Nick traced. That quote, the one that burned itself into my mind. He's boring, but he pays for everything. I'll marry him and still have my fun. Someone gasped, Jesus Christ. She finally moved. Her hands reached for her purse, fumbling, probably looking for her phone. I didn't give her time, because then came the voice memo. Her voice, giggling. He thinks I'm the dream. I'm just playing the part. Once I get the ring and the house, game over. She shot to her feet. Turn it off, she yelled. But the damage was done. Her father stood up next. Is this real? He asked me, loud enough for the whole room to hear. I looked straight at him. It's all real. And there's more. The screen split. One side showed her slow dancing with me during our shoot. The other, her kissing another man in a hotel hallway. And then the final message. White letters on a black screen. This is who I was going to marry. But I'm not a fool. Silence. No clapping. No screams. Just silence. She stood in the center of it all. Eyes wet. Makeup running. Breath shaking. I walked to the mic. No rage. No emotion. Just truth. I wanted tonight to be honest. And now it is. I won't be marrying her. But I do thank her. For showing me who she really is before I said, I do. And with that I set the mic down. Some people stood. Some watched in stunned disbelief. Her dad sat back down, burying his face in his hands. And I walked right down the center aisle. Past her. Past the lies. Past everything. And I didn't look back. The silence didn't last long. Cracked all at once like glass under pressure. Voices rose. Guests stood. One woman yelled, What the hell did we just watch? Another whispered, Is this real? Over and over, like a broken record. Then came the shouting. Her dad was the first to lose it. He turned to her, red-faced, voice shaking. You lied to us. You made a fool out of everyone in this room. I vouched for you. I stood up for this. She tried to reach for him. "Dad!" He stepped back. "Don't." Her mother just sat there, stone still, hands trembling in her lap. The friends, her inner circle, looked like they'd seen a ghost. One of them started crying. Another rushed out of the venue with her hand over her mouth. She turned to me, desperate now, tears pouring. "Please, just please. You don't have to do this. We can talk. Not here. Not like this." I stayed silent. She reached out again and I took a step back. "You chose this," I said, my voice low. "You built this moment. One lie at a time." The DJ didn't know what to do. He stood frozen behind his booth, hands hovering over the console. The staff looked confused. The photographer kept snapping. He was a pro, and I told him not to stop. Some guests left. Others stayed, rooted to the floor like they couldn't move. One guy, a friend of mine from college, just nodded at me slowly, mouthing, "Respect." She was spiraling. "This was between us," she cried. "Why would you humiliate me like this? Why would you do it here?" I stared at her for a beat before answering. "Because you humiliated me in secret. I just returned the favor in public." And then she lost it, screaming, crying. She slammed her hands on the nearest table, knocking over glasses. Her voice cracked as she begged people to believe her, to let her explain. No one came to her defense. Even the people she once called ride or die stood in silence. Not one hand reached out. Not one voice stepped up. And in that moment, she finally realized she was alone. The power in the room had shifted completely. I walked past the shattered calm, through the side door and into the cool night air. I could still hear her wailing inside, but it sounded far away, distant, like an echo from another life. Outside, people trickled out. Some avoided me. Others clapped me on the shoulder, said nothing, just nodded. One older woman came up and whispered, "You did what a lot of people wouldn't have the courage to do." I thanked her, but I didn't feel proud. Not exactly. I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. I just breathed. Because for the first time in months, I wasn't pretending. I got in my car, sat in silence, and let the night settle. Then I turned the key and drove. Not away from something, but toward the life I finally deserved. The morning after the party felt like waking up in a different life. No texts, no missed calls, no calendar reminders about wedding vendors. Just silence, clean, still, and long overdue. I didn't cry. I didn't celebrate either. I just sat on my couch, coffee in hand, staring out the window as the sun came up. It was over. Not just the engagement. Not just the lies. The performance. The pretending. The constant second-guessing myself. All of it done. She tried to contact me. Of course she did. 3 voicemails. 7 texts. Then silence again. I never responded. I'd said everything I needed to say, and more, the night before. Word spread fast. I didn't post anything, didn't go public beyond that room. But people talk. Her friends? Most went quiet. A few messaged me privately, saying they had no idea. One admitted they'd suspected but didn't want to get involved. Her parents reached out. Her mom left a voicemail, quiet, sad, apologetic. Her dad didn't call, but I heard he'd asked for time off work. I didn't blame him. I didn't hate them. I didn't even hate her. That was the part that surprised me most. In the days that followed, I waited for anger to come back. For the fire, the urge to scream, to break things. But it didn't. I felt free. I started going back to the gym. I deleted old photos, cleared my closet, rearranged my place. It was simple stuff, but it felt like taking my life back one drawer, one step at a time. And slowly, I started to smile again. Not for show. Not to prove anything. Just because I could. People kept asking me, "Would you do it the same way again?" And honestly, yeah, I would. Because the point wasn't revenge. Not really. It was about ending the lie on my terms. About not letting someone rewrite my story while I stood there pretending not to notice. About showing her and everyone else that I see everything now. And I won't ever ignore it again. There's something powerful about truth. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It just sits there, undeniable, unshakable, waiting. And when it lands, it doesn't need an army behind it. It stands on its own. It took getting burned to realize how much light I was missing. But now, I'm wide awake, alive, moving forward, not with bitterness, with clarity. And that's the best kind of ending I could have written for myself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Did he do the right thing?